This is a must-read if you want to understand anything related to China. It lays out an analytical framework for how to understand any issue or phenomenon related to China. I hope you'll read it patiently to the end. When you talk about China, don't just look at surface phenomena. Every social event, every news story, every single tree you see is only appearance. What matters more is the forest, the underlying logic and first principles. Most Western observers see only the trees, GDP, technology, trade, diplomatic clashes, social incidents. They rarely see the forest, and that's understandable because they've never really lived inside such a society. Let's begin with the soul of China. China's soul, and its true masters of ownership, are the cadres across the party-state apparatus. They are the modern equivalent of citizens in ancient Athens. Athens was a slave society, if you do not know already. Only citizens held full political rights. Everyone else, no matter how rich or intelligent, remained slaves in political terms. Back then, a slave wasn't necessarily a manual laborer, nor was slave purely a pejorative. Many did intellectual work, were educated, and even some philosophers had been slaves. But they could not touch politics, certainly not debate like Socrates or be killed by political rivals as he was. That structure mirrors today's China. Those who truly possess political life, the party-state cadres, are the Athenian citizens of modern China. They set direction and design order, yet they number only about 1 million, less than 1 per 1,000 of the population. What does this mean? It means that most Westerners over an entire lifetime have never met China's soul. The Chinese people you meet, the restaurant owner, the chef, the student, the engineer, the doctor, the trader, the programmer, are residents of China, not its rulers. The real soul exists only within that million-person party-state system. Only by starting from them can you see China's essence. Now, China's politics, the party and the government, like brain and body. These soul figures are the party-state cadres. To understand them, you must grasp China's core institutional feature. The party and the state are not separate. In China, party departments and government departments form a single body. In the West, this is almost unimaginable. For example, in the United States, whether Democrats or Republicans are in or out of power, party funding comes from society, donations, foundations, corporate sponsors. A party is not the government. It is a social organization. But in China, all expenses of party organs and party affairs are financed directly by the state budget, for example, the collected taxes from the society. Office costs, salaries, propaganda, training, all borne by the state. The party's institutions don't merely operate alongside government. They are part of the state machine itself. Party cadres are civil servants. They draw fiscal salaries. Their actions are the actions of the state. Therefore, in China's context, the party and the government are not two different things. The party is the thought system, the central nervous system. The government is the executing system, the body and limbs. Party decisions are the mind of the state. Government behavior is that mind made visible. This is the second key to understanding China. In China, the party is not one political force among many. It is the consciousness of politics. So what ideas and core ideology inhabit this brain, the party system? China's political structure has 3 lines: party, government, and military. The military sits far from daily civilian life. We focus on party and government. The party thinks. The government acts. The former decides. The latter mostly executes. To understand Chinese politics, you must ask, what does the party think? The party's ideological foundation remains Marxism, Leninism, Maoism. These are not museum pieces. They are still the intellectual wellspring being upheld. First, class theory remains foundational. In the party's logic, society consists of bourgeoisie and proletariat, and politics must be led by the latter. This means politics always stands above capital. China has markets, private enterprise, billionaires, but capital is forever managed and guided. In China, politics controls capital, not the other way around. A pure capitalist is merely a more capable, more mobile Athenian slave, at most, a famous slave. Second, crisis and struggle are the norm. A Marxist-Leninist Maoist party is steeped in crisis consciousness. Without struggle, it fails. Without advance, it perishes. Its survival logic is unceasing struggle and expansion. Only when its ideology is accepted worldwide will enemies vanish and society become harmonious. Thus, struggle is not merely a tool, it is a state of being. Under this view, the democratic free world is an ideological rival. Either I change you or you change me. In reality, there is no gray zone. If you think a gray zone exists, it is only expediency. If I failed to change you over the past 40 years, then next I will try to change you proactively, and sometimes not by openly changing you, but by controlling you through power, for example via critical supply chains. This is the logic behind China's current behavior. Third, technology and heavy industries are articles of faith. This comes from the Soviet gene. The USSR favored heavy industry. China has continued that tradition. Technology and industry are seen as the foundation of national survival, while consumerism is viewed as decadence. Hence, China's development logic is more supply-side. New energy, storage, EVs, chips, aerospace. These projects symbolize national strength. The aim is not for people to consume more joyfully, but for the nation to produce more powerfully. Greater productive forces mean greater overall strength, a step closer to communism. In China's mind, entertainment and excessive consumption are surface foam. Technology and industry are the soul. Beyond institutions and ideology, you must understand China's distinctive social structure, the Chinese elements. First, China has a vast, highly educated population. This grows out of Confucian reverence for education. For millennia, the imperial examination forged a national will to learn. Across East Asia, China, Japan, Korea, Northern Vietnam, education is a shared creed. China's skilled labor force exceeds that of the US, Europe, Japan, Korea, Australia, and Canada combined. This is not merely a country, it is a civilization-scale world, another world. Second, China's bureaucracy is highly efficient. Civil service selection is stringent. Promotion is complex. The system does in fact produce powerful political administrators and technocrats. They treat society as an engineerable system. Fiscal policy, monetary policy, real estate, public opinion, fertility, education, employment, everything can be adjusted with policy tools. Propaganda, mobilization, stimulus, redesign, this is China's governance logic. Third, there is a deep tradition of statecraft and strategy. 2,000 to 3,000 years of unification and division have made Chinese people adept at intellectual contest. The modern battlefield is economics, business, and finance. Some call it cunning, others call it wisdom. Either way, this cognitive machinery lets China navigate global competition with ease. To summarize China's essence, will and fragility coexisting. In the end, China is a super-capable society controlled by a very small political elite, party cadres. They have a strong sense of mission and crisis, and they combine organizational rationality with the will to act. They believe in their system and in their direction. This is an entity that not only has the will to reshape the world order, but also the capacity to do so. Their hope is that 20 years from now, by sheer strength, China will be the most robust, orderly, disciplined, purposeful, and quiet. If you need a metaphor, China is like a modern Muslim state, and Islam is the ancient version of the Communist Party. Each local imam, as a branch leader, is not only a spiritual guide but also a decision-maker in politics and daily life. In Iran, for example, religion is the thought system and the government is the executive system. That structure is strikingly similar to China's party state. The only difference is this: Iranians might still believe in their religion. Ordinary Chinese no longer believe in communism. They are secular, intelligent, pragmatic. Most hold a worldly, skeptical attitude toward religion and grand ideologies. Therefore, China is stronger than it appears, and also more fragile. Its soul rests in the hands of 1 in 1,000. Its body is driven by 1.4 billion highly capable workers. This is China, a civilization machine driven by the party, a vast system that contains reason, ambition, strength, and unease. Its direction will shape the world's order. So what are your thoughts? Has this sparked reflection? The world is complex. We have not said China is good or bad. Good and bad lie in your own value judgments. In our view, Rome's shift from republic to empire was inevitable. To put it bluntly and a bit crudely, as a listener, you may have to accept your own Caesar, perhaps Trump crowned as the king, if you want effective resistance against China. Otherwise, in time, you too will find yourself among the 999 out of 1,000, the ordinary Chinese in this metaphor. In other words, you are Chinese within 10 to 20 years, or are you or your kids ready to learn some Chinese to make a living in the near future? Don't rush to dismiss this. Think it through.